the jig is up, Meek Mill comes out and proclaims that Drake is nothing but a light-skinned ventriloquist, a non-talented piece of shit who basically should not be compared to a real street nigga like himself, because unlike Drake, Meek Mill actually writes his own raps. Now, the goddamn blasphemy, the unmitigated gall, goddamn it, what are you talking about, Meek? Now, before I get into this, right, let's figure out where this is coming from. Now, it could be coming from, obviously, we know these rappers nowadays, they're basically social media fiends, read tweets, kind of get them hyped up to say all types of shit, okay? It could be coming from a place of moisture, yes, it could be moisture. But let's not act like Meek is not the same individual who basically called out and beefed with his own label mate, Wale, over a tweet. He claimed Wale was a fuck nigga who was hating on him for not tweeting out about his album. Now, this time around, he actually mentions that Drake didn't tweet his album as well. Now, if it's not that, because let's look a little bit deeper, because some sources from within his camp said, listen, this might be stemming from Drake, who was invited to Meek Mill's homecoming concert in Philly. He either declined or didn't respond. Meek Mill took that as a sign of disrespect and then went to the place where all rappers solve their beef, social media. Now, let me tell you this, because I'm definitely caught up in the inception. I feel like I've been fooled, bamboozled, hoodwinked. Now, think about this, okay? Drake, who's been pegged as one of the best writers in hip-hop. I mean, he's won tons of awards. BMI awards for Songwriter of the Year, okay? Turns out he got a ghostwriter himself. Huh? Shraggy? It's kind of like finding out that Aquaman can't float. It's kind of like finding out Spider-Man's afraid of heights. That fucking Bill Cosby actually wrote the verse for Rick Ross on UOENO. Now, just let cooler heads prevail, because this is obviously, right, the result of pillow talking, right? Let's not pretend for a second that Nicki Minaj probably isn't behind this, right? She's with Meek Mill, right? Let's not pretend that she's probably not exposing all these niggas who probably simped over her while she's getting bust down by Meek Mill. That's how he's getting the information. But let's just get to the tweets and really get to what Meek Mill is saying and really what's really bothering him. Now, this is what he hopped on Twitter. He just came out of the blue. He said this: niggas so fake, you can blow they cover in 2 days. Okay, he said, stop comparing Drake to me. He don't write his own raps. That's why he ain't tweet my album, because we found out. Then he says, the whole game, no, for real. They scared to tell the truth. I can't wait to something. Listen, his typing is atrocious, okay? I can't wait to blah, blah, these guys, and sit back and act like they don't know. Okay, then he says, don't compare me to none of the cats that don't write their own raps either. LOL, okay? He then says, Kendrick and J. Cole, really not a rap. Even though they're in different lanes, dude is all the way out of it. Now, who he's talking about is actually Drake. He's all the way out of it, okay? Then he says this: he ain't even write that verse on my album. And if I woulda knew, I woulda took it off my album. I don't trick fans. I only know how to tell the truth. If Hov gave me a verse that someone else wrote, I would do the same thing. No shade to Hov. And I gotta really edit it a little bit, because his typing, if I read it verbatim, is atrocious, okay? Now he says, I know a lot of y'all gonna be sick, but there's nothing they could do. Then he says, when I get mad, I start saying what's bothering me. I cannot tell, or I cannot not tell the truth. Okay, double negative, but it's fine. Then he says, y'all like fake winning. I've been tweeting about it for weeks now, but today I wanted to show somebody how much I don't care. So he's talking about, he's trying to prove to somebody that he really doesn't give a fuck, that he's really a Philly nigga, okay? Now he then tweets out, and this is a big tweet. He says, when he said the Dream Girl shit on Rico, I thought he was coming at me, LOL. Then Young Bull played me the verse in his voice before my album came out. I was mad as shit. Now, let me just say this, okay? Let's stop right there and just break it down. What he's talking about is a line on the song Rico where Drake says, the girl of your dreams is probably not a challenge. If you guys don't know, Meek Mill, his whole little motto is like dream chasers, so the dreams thing kind of correlate. And if you don't know, he says Nicki Minaj was the girl of his dreams. He wanted her since like '05. Okay, whatever the case is, right? So basically, at first, Meek Mill was like, is this nigga trying to sneak this me on my own song? What's going on? But then he said, and this is important, he says, then Young Bull played me the verse in his voice before my album came out. It looks like he's making, or he's alluding to hearing a reference track of Drake's verse, which means someone else rapped Drake's verse. And if you guys don't know what a reference track is, basically when Beyonce puts out like a song like even 7-Eleven, it's probably like fucking Dream somewhere in the studio making 7-Eleven, singing it in his own voice. He rapped it, or not really rapped it, sung it. Basically recorded it on a track, sent it to Beyonce. Beyonce hears what Dream did, and Beyonce said, okay, I'll go into the studio. I recorded my voice. I'll change a couple of words from him to her, from she to he, and that's how it is. That's how like the pop world goes, okay? At least for like Rihanna, Beyonce on certain songs. Okay, so he's basically saying Drake is just basically a ventriloquist rapping off a reference track. That's kind of crazy. Now, he then says this. Other artists know, though. He says Lil Wayne and Nicki know. Ask M, they gon' act like they don't see him tweets. Now, this is a little bit tricky tweet as well, because I would expect Nicki to be around him that he could vouch for Nicki if she would actually speak up, but it seems like he said, you guys ask him, but I know what it is. Maybe something's going on with him and Nicki. Now, he says this, I just really wanted to show somebody something that I really don't have a chill. Now, that's a telling tweet, too. Seems like he's putting on a show, or he's doing this to prove to somebody who we don't know that he really doesn't give a fuck. Could this be Nicki Minaj? We don't know. Now, he continues. He says, Ross is really with me. I don't look at no tweet. It's really love. We don't act like we cool for the camera. Basically, Ross had tweeted out, listen, come on, it's Rick fucking Ross, okay? I think he tweeted out Drake is greater than Meek Mill, but he didn't understand. He really meant to say Meek Mill is like greater than Drake, which means Meek Mill is better than Drake, or he's co-signing Meek Mill, rocking with his artist rather than Drake, but it came across wrong. He deleted the tweet, and everyone was kind of like going at Meek, like, dog, even your boss don't rock with you. Then Rick Ross kind of corrected it with another thing saying he supports Meek, and Meek came out saying, nah, he rocking with me. Okay, so obviously this is some MMG shit, and it's kind of crazy. MMG taking out Young Money, and it's all from the inside out. Basically, Meek Mill is inside of Nicki Minaj getting information about Drake and Lil Wayne and everybody else and taking them the fuck down. This is the untouchable MMG empire. Now, he continues. He says, and it ain't about no tweet. He ain't post my album, and he on it because he know we found out. It's so much to it, okay? He then says Quentin Miller. You'll hear this name a lot. Apparently, this is one of the quote-unquote ghostwriters, which is even weirder because he's been credited on all the songs he's on, right? Then he says this, and I only speak facts. Remember that, okay? Then he also says Roscoe Dash. Roscoe Dash made some type of, he said, listen, yeah, he basically alluded to him writing on Drake's mixtape, but not getting any credit, okay? Then he says this, y'all gotta remember, I'm from the trap. I can't be seeing fuck shit going on and be whispering with my homies about how lame it is. I'm gonna say it, okay? Now, basically, that's all the tweets, right? Now, let me just say this, okay? What we're really talking about is Meek Mill saying, no, Drake didn't get like a line here, a line there, maybe he switched a word because somebody else in the studio said, hey, switch a word. He's straight up accusing Drake of being a ventriloquist, of being like Rihanna or like Beyonce, getting a reference track and spitting the verse. Like verbatim, okay? Now, clearly, and I don't know, as I said, it seems like this might be coming from either something with Nicki or maybe this is from the concert, really and truly, but it seems deep. Now, clearly, the stimulus package that Drake dispatched to Meek Mill is, listen, it has not been received well because they always say, don't look a gift horse in his mouth. And it looks like Meek Mill is violating every single rule that Drake set for all rappers on 5 a.m. in Toronto. Okay? Now, let's think about this because Drake has got to he got to do a Stay Scheming Part 2 to Meek Mill, okay? I mean, he got to do something like 3 a.m. in Philly. He got to end it, okay? Because the stimulus package, okay, the FEMA check, it seems that that shit must have bounced because we could safely assume at this point that Drake is not going to be at the Rico video shoot. And to be honest, Meek Mill might not even be on the Canada leg of the Pink Print tour, even though his manager guaranteed me that he would be. But here's the thing. To be fair, and not to just completely side with either Drake or Meek Mill, even though I'm saying, listen, Drake is putting out a lot of good content, until we hear some real proof that he's really just a ventriloquist, that he's not writing at all, we gotta say, right? We could say this, okay? Drake has been calling out all these niggas for years, calling them too pussy to respond. So basically, when Drake washes Meek Mill on his own track, because he did wash him on Rico, right? Meek Mill might have got mad and probably said, fuck all this shit, man. Let me just expose this nigga, because niggas keep acting like I'm competing against Drake in a fair manner when Drake got like 10 niggas writing for him. Okay? Now, about this writing thing, right? It's been a whole long hip-hop tradition. Nobody writes for you. You can't have people write for you. But here's the thing. Kanye has said it, like people have given him portions or influenced him, and I look at and I listen to the kid Quentin Miller's music, and the pen game don't seem up to Drake's level. Drake was actually serving loud. He was giving like Reggie. The style does seem similar. The style seems like Drake was definitely influenced on a style level from this kid, or maybe they came up with it together. Now, we got to also realize it was the same thing that people accuse Nicki Minaj of, right? Remember, people say, yo, well, I mean, Safari also helped influence and write your songs. Now, we still give, at least I do, I give credit to Nicki Minaj because, hey, you might have influenced, but at the end of the day, it's still about the flow, the delivery. And as long as she's involved in the creative process, I can't just say, oh, you just gave her the idea, because if you did, you'd be able to make hits for yourself. Okay? Now, what's really going on here, and notice this before we go on. What's going on here is the same thing that happened to Kevin Hart recently when Mike Epps and Erie Spears, they came out and said, hey, how could we be competing with this guy who's at the top? He has 6 writers. He has a team of writers to make sure he's funny. When we get on stage, we got to write shit ourselves. And some people see that as unfair. Some people's like, whatever. They're like, yo, there's like some ethics, this, and third. So, I'm not sure what's going on here. We do have to hear Drake's side, but right now, these are some goddamn strong allegations, man. These are some strong allegations, right? Now, if Drake does not write his shit, like, let's just explore the possibility. He doesn't write his shit, okay? He gets a track and he spits it word for word. Instantly, and Drake's my favorite rapper, instantly Drake is disqualified from being one of the best rappers ever, also disqualified from being one of the best lyricists ever, instantly disqualified from being one of the best writers ever. Because he's not writing the shit, okay? He's not coming up with this shit. Now, does it mean that I will enjoy his music any less? Negative. I can still enjoy his music. I'll probably still enjoy his music more than everybody else. However, when we're talking about the greatest, okay? Listen, it's an asterisk because we can't discuss you seriously no more. We can't take you serious. We can't take you serious, at least competing with the other guys who have put up numbers, and maybe they weren't as big as yours, but they didn't have steroids. Okay? So we'll see, man. Now, as I said, we do got to evaluate the claims made by Meek. Meek is also the same individual who stood right beside 50 at an event after 50 Cent was dissing Rick Ross and actually did a lot of horrible things to Rick Ross. So we got to see, man. So let's just see where this goes, man. It's been a lot of shit, but Drake probably won't respond. He'll probably respond to the song, but he needs to respond because these are some strong allegations. It's going at his reputation. What do you guys think? You guys be the judge. Get in the comment box. Make sure you guys like. And yeah, see, listen, don't mention like OG Mako said. Listen, OG Mako got handled by Future Vandross. Listen, man, this nigga, listen, he's never went platinum. Okay, let's not talk about this guy. Okay, let's talk about Meek. Let's talk about Drake. Get in the comment box. Make sure you guys like. Definitely subscribe. It's your boy, DJ Academics. I'm out.